Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a full first story arc comic book review of Gunslinger Spawn, issues number 1 through 6, brought to you by RatedComics. Before we get into the content, I'd like to thank Andrew John for buying me a cup of coffee. Before I do these reviews, I always start the day off with coffee. That way I can get the most output and give it right back to you guys who's watching. The greatest compliment you can do is by liking the video and subscribing to this channel. It'll help RatedComics to make more content like this. Also, timestamps will be in description and link in description if you wish to purchase any of the comic books in this review. Support the art, support the industry. Last but not least, let's get to it. Now, in this issue of Gunslinger Spawn, McFarlane tells a story in 4 acts, and this is the first act of Gunslinger Spawn. We begin with Gunslinger Spawn having a conversation with Spawn about what drew him into that island and what you were all about, but Spawn's got to go, you know? And this goes back to, Spawn's universe. Issue number 1. You can check out that review. I did do a full comic book review on that. Now, Gunslinger Spawn is like, whatever. He's in no mood to answer anyone's question. He goes to the patch in the bushes and turns on his competition. His transportation. Keep in mind, he's still trying to figure out why he isn't in the year 1864 and how he got pulled into the future, into present time. Now, his motorcycle runs dead, probably because he ran out of gas, but sunrise is about to come up and he'll need some cover. Meanwhile, we see Taylor having a conversation with Mr. Santo, his employer, about, hey, put your phone away, I'm gonna head out, lock everything up before you leave, and get off your phone. Customers love it when you pay attention to one-on-one. You sound like my dad, Mr. Santo. No, I sound like your boss. Enjoy your evening. So he leaves. A while later, Taylor's friends come in like, hey, yo, boy, come party with your boys. It's a party at Billy's tonight. When you're off. Keep in mind, that's when they said when you're off. Taylor decides now is the perfect time. Let's do this. Yeah, buddy. They drive off in the car. Gunslinger Spawn is behind, and he gets to the edge of town as he pushes his bike, and he's pissed because he never had to do this with the horse. I love the humor between the gap in time. I think that's hilarious. So meanwhile, at the party, they're drinking, they're bonding over burgers and junk food and fast food. They talk about fart jokes and it smelled. You shard himself. But that reminds me of college days when it was cheap beer and Jack in the Box tacos that got me through those late night cravings. I mean, come on, never mind. Don't judge me. I'm sure someone's watching this video knowing Jack in the Box tacos were damn good late at night. Anyways, back to the review. Taylor's friends are puking because his bros are like, dude, you shouldn't have pre-gamed like that. Taylor's like, you're such a lightweight. They drop him off back at work, and he sees at the shed there's light coming out of it. He's like, dude, I thought I locked it. So he goes in to check it out, and he sees something that was just beautiful. It was the motorcycle of his dreams. He's like, where'd you come from, baby? Click, clack, click. Gunslinger Spawn, hold up! Put your hands where I can see them, boy! And that's a horrible Western accent, but I have to do it, It shocks the heck out of Taylor. He's like, what's your name, son? Taylor. Is that your first or last? No, Bartlett. Taylor Bartlett. That's my full name. First and last name, sir. You got square legs. I got a question for you. And he's like, okay, what's up? Like, he gets the vibe he's not going to be killed. Do you know anything how to fix that contraption? And it's the bike. And after a brief examination, Taylor's like, dude, you're out of gas. Don't mess with me, boy. What you talking about gas? Sorry, that kind of humor reminds me of in Cobra Kai with Johnny Lawrence, how he's so stuck on the 80s for anyone who's watched that show, and he just tells his students, you know what? Download the music, send it to the internet. You guys know what episode I'm talking about in season 1. But anyways, in the borderline between Mexico and Arizona, there's a huge private museum that's dedicated to those that ruled the earth millions of years ago. Dinosaurs. And it's these angels discussing that Calicioso's misguided attempts to recruit a new Hellspawn backfired. What's the plan now? And they're discussing in this wide panel art that they have plans for Gunslinger Spawn, and they want Gunslinger Spawn to join them on their side for their cause and their purpose. Like, they're going to include Gunslinger Spawn, but now they got to figure out a way to how to bring him in. But how do you suppose we do that? It has something to do with planning a public affair, but Todd McFarlane notes that this is coming in issue number 3, so this is in the future of Gunslinger Spawn. Meanwhile, we get back to Taylor and Gunslinger Spawn having a conversation like, hey, so you're telling me I got to figure out gas stations, tires, and highways and all that, then I could keep on traveling. Yes, but you got enough horsepower in your bike. And he's like, I know the power of a horse. It's like, no, not that kind of horse I'm talking about. Like, anyways, look, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it. And he's like, what's a Google? Of course he doesn't know what a Google is. Does this brother even have a cell phone? No, he doesn't. So Gunslinger Spawn expresses frustration. I got some places to be. I need to get to like the twin butts because there's something buried there and I need to deal with it. And he's like, you mean those twin butts? And Gunslinger Spawn gets pissed and he busted out a strap to Taylor and he's like, wait a minute, and Taylor realizes what's going on. Are you telling me you can't read? And a cool air remains silent for the longest time. Then Gunslinger Spawn makes his confession. No, I can't read. And the way he survived all this time, because Taylor asked him, how'd you survive all this time, is he opens up his jacket and shows his arsenal of weapons. And the reason why my hat's so tall, because I got this knife right here. And Taylor's like, that's a big knife. And should I be scared right now? And Gunslinger Spawn postures himself. He's like, no, not if you're one of them. But let's get back to my riding machine. Can you get it started for me? He's like, I told you I can't. And Taylor's like, I told you I can. I got some equipment in my dad's garage. I could tune that puppy up real nice. Perfect. Let's go to your house. But Taylor's like, wait a minute. I can't do that. I have to let my dad know that I'm coming home. And I'm not allowed to come home until daddy says it's okay. It's a very weird response. Now, meanwhile, Gunslinger Spawn gets ambushed by Angel, and this fight is awesome. The art detail, the collateral damage, and just like, I mean, even though they say Gunslinger Spawn is the weaker out of the spawns, this guy definitely holds up his own, and he goes in for the kill shot. The Angel blocks it, but then he rarely misses his next shot when he sees an opportunity to go for the open head and instantly kills the Angel. I love how Taylor's like, okay, I just witnessed all this happening, but the only thing that makes sense right now is to escape. And Gunslinger Spawn's like, Taylor, get your ass back here, boy. Okay, I might have to stop with the accents. And Taylor's like, yes, sir. I was bringing your hat right back. Don't hate on me. Mighty kind of you, boy. Here, hold the gun. And he teaches him a lesson on how to properly kill an Angel. You can't shoot him in the chest because it don't kill him. You gotta go straight for the head. Shoots him in the head, and just for good measure, throws a knife at his head because bullets don't stop him. You know what I mean? And he offers Taylor a chance to give it a try. You want to use him for photography practice? No, I'll trash. Okay. Suit yourself. And then we learn that their bodies dissolve into air because according to Gunslinger Spawn, it's to hide the evidence, so make sure humans don't know what's going on. So now Gunslinger Spawn's like, all right, let's get this gas, let's go home. And it's a full tank that Tyler has to pay for, and they get home and unannounced. Now, Gunslinger Spawn's like, don't worry, your pa will understand. So as Taylor opens the door and apologizes, he is stunned to see that there's a gathering in his dad's living room with these angels. And I recognize that gold angel from, I don't know if it's, I believe from King Spawn and Spawn's universe. It's just a sight to see. And his dad's like, what are you doing here? I told you can never come home until I get you. Are you deaf? Are you an idiot? And they're like, we know he's your son, but we can't have any humans interfering. We cannot have any humans knowing that we're here. Taylor calls out for his dad, and his dad could just look down in disbelief and shock and defeat, knowing that your son, I can't help you, man. This is your fault. You have one thing to do. And he's like, Dad, please. And then they're like, take him outside and bury him. And that's when Gunslinger Spawn comes in, and there's about to be some action, and that's where the first act of this book ends right here. Now, I'm going to leave a little meat on the bone with you guys for this book because this is a lot of book, and there's 3 more acts. There's the lynching, which is a story about an old west where Gunslinger Spawn survived on vengeance and on a bounty hunter life and what happened to her sons. That was good, but it wasn't my favorite. My 2 favorites of this one are weapons. It's a story about, it's one of the inventive ways to show how Gunslinger Spawn, the why behind his bullets and what his bullets do and how he evolved. I'm not going to spoil that because I got to leave that meat on the bone for you guys. And then finally, my personal favorite story, A Small Gift. It's a story about a young child being bullied in a salon. It's a story of bullying and retribution as Gunslinger Spawn corrects the wrong, Western style. Now, that is the most gangster story in my opinion. Link in description if you guys wish to purchase this book, because I always love if you guys decide to purchase this book from RatedComics.com. Link in description, obviously for biased reasons. You know, support the art, support the industry. What's my conclusion on this? I mean, I think it's not King Spawn, But this is an issue you want on your shelf right now. The artwork alone is worth every penny, but the storyline that contributes to Spawn's timeline as it provides that like a fish out of water kind of deal from 1800s to now 200 years later is funny, and you can have a read of this comic several times over and just appreciate it. I think it's great. I enjoyed it. Once again, it's not King Spawn. If King Spawn were a ribeye, I have no problem with the New York strip steak either. We begin this issue where we left off in issue number 1. Gunslinger Spawn impales one of the angels in the head and tells Taylor to run. That element of surprise is short-lived because he can ambush maybe one more angel before the other angels plan their attack. An angel attacks Gunslinger with the razor-edged staff. That pose is pretty badass while you admire the art. Gunslinger reaches inside his jacket and tosses his knives to another angel's head, delivering a deadly blow. He doesn't want to fight anymore and for the angels to pack up their things, or wings, and leave. Since they're angels, otherwise we could do this dance all day. Alright, Captain America. The other angel's like, you're right, let's finish this dance. She hits Gunslinger Spawn with the blast. He falls back, and if it weren't for him doing a slight jerk and or shift, the spear would have impaled his heart. Another angel proclaims, before he moves, kill the demon. Heaven's warriors reacted a second too slow and bam, bam, bam! He shoots her in the chest. He knows the shots won't kill an angel as established in issue number 1, but it buys him some time. Angel tells Gunslinger to drop the weapon or the boy dies while wielding his sword to his neck. Gunslinger tells him, I don't care about the boy, so go right ahead. In retrospect, he knows that the angel cares about their own, so he plucks the injured angel's wings like pulling a thick weed from the ground. You can tell the emotion that this angel's giving off that he does care about that angel. Gunslinger says to the angel, the marks on your armor show that you bonded with this one. She'll never fly again. But if I pull the other wing, she goes insane. You got 2 seconds to release the boy. What a decision to make. Angel lets go of Taylor and he runs towards Gunslinger Spawn. He tells the other angels, you can take one if you're wounded, but the other stays here. They proceed to do that. Take the wounded angel and leave the other one behind. Those angels will be back in larger numbers to get the revenge, and Gunslinger Spawn knows that. But he has a few questions to ask the other angel because he's not going to be around for when they do return. The interrogation begins. They both know this angel's going to die, and Gunslinger threatens things will get worse if he doesn't tell him what he needs to know. The first question is, why does every faction he comes into contact with are acting like they're on fire? Something big is going on. He knows he's not the only one that got dragged from a different time. How did we get here? Dying Angel's response is, Spawn! Spawn did this! And Gunslinger doesn't buy that bull jive answer because hell don't give away that kind of power, boy. Dying Angel tells him that everyone is mobilizing to stop Spawn and that he's telling the truth. He asks the angel about why is he here, buddying up with the Bartlett group. He wants that answer because he's trying to locate Bartlett. Taylor's dad shoots Gunslinger Spawn from behind and tells Taylor, get out of here, boy. I don't know why I like saying boy at the end. It's just funny. He's in pain. Taylor and his dad argue. The dying angel knows she doesn't have much time left and impales Gunslinger Spawn from behind. If she got to go, he got to go with me too. Why gotta be from behind? Why not from the front? Taylor begs for his dad to do something and dad tells his son to get out of grown folk business. Gunslinger's getting some haymakers landed on him. Taylor launches himself on the angel. I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Get off of me, human, says the dying angel. Gunslinger sees an opening in this distraction. I'm going to make this hurt, he says, and rips both of the angel's wings off her back. The truth about this ripping of the wings is that there is no greater disgrace nor pain higher than getting both wings removed. It causes disgrace, insanity, and certain death. Dying angel has a few minutes left before she takes her last breath. How do I get back home? He asks her. Bam! Taylor's dad shoots her in the head. He tells Gunslinger to put his hands where he can see them. Taylor wants to know why is his dad doing this? Gunslinger knows the answer, because he's a half-breed cut from the same cloth as the Bartletts from my time. Gunslinger prompts Taylor's dad to tell his son the truth about who they really are, corrupting and poisoning minds of others like what they did to my sister. Taylor does put his dad on the spot. Is this true? Is this why mom left you? She said you lied to her about everything and you were never good to her. Put that gun down before I do what I did to her, says Taylor's dad. What a hell of an implied motive. Now Taylor holds his dad at gunpoint. Gunslinger wants Taylor to pull the trigger because Taylor's dad doesn't care about no one, and if this were reversed, Taylor's dad would have pulled the trigger by now on his own son. Shoot him now, Taylor. Taylor pauses for a moment but doesn't have what it takes to shoot his own dad after the stare down. On the flip side, his dad pulls out his shotgun and seems to have no hesitation about shooting his own son. Gunslinger reaches for something and shoot, throws a knife in the back of Daddy's head. Instant kill, in shock. Taylor holds his dad. Let him be. He's dead, says Gunslinger Spawn. Taylor yells to him, he hates him, and Gunslinger is totally fine with it. He did what was necessary in his own eyes. Not to mention, this will pass. I'm going to leave a little meat on the bone with this book. Link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your collection. We do get a bit of toilet humor here, pun intended, between Gunslinger Spawn and Taylor. It's kind of funny. Gunslinger Spawn number 2 is exactly what you want from a Spawn book. A whole lot of action, which also happens to drive the larger story plot. That escalated violence only enhances the ramifications and the consequences of this fight too. Gunslinger made things personal and messy. You have to imagine things will only get worse when Heaven's forces return. Now, another reason the action has such an impact on the plot is not that much else happens in the issue, and that's totally okay because it does move the story forward. There's still clear direction, and it's going from a different pace from main Spawn line, the King Spawn with Sean Lewis, and it's a good way to separate the series from other Spawn titles. The characters who survived Gunslinger Spawn will certainly cross this path again, but whether it be sooner or later, we don't know, and that's not a bad thing, and I totally dug this book. Begin this issue in a Jurassic Park setting kind of meeting. This guy is talking about, we hope to get to Gunslinger Spawn first before Calypso, obviously, but that didn't happen. So they shifted their presence and their direction where it needed to be shifted to on the whereabouts of the other Hell Spawns that came through the void at the same time as Gunslinger Spawn. Spawn, She-Spawn, Jim, and all the others, that's not our target right now. But Gunslinger Spawn is ours. And the guy that's doing all the talking in this one his name is Theus. But who he's talking to is Dakota, and that's what she's been brought in for, to bring down Gunslinger Spawn. She and her pets specialize in these types of hell spawns. And as Cyrus tells Theus, you're out of your mind? We didn't come here to be sidelined, not by you, and especially not by her. Cog screw this up, and we're gonna make it right. So we're gonna get to Gunslinger Spawn. And Dakota's like, not gonna happen. And this girl, this is pretty badass looking right there. She's, I mean, obviously hot, but in also an imposing kind of way that, in a mysterious, you just don't know. What's up with these pets? So she tells Cyrus that it's not gonna happen, but you still bring lots of value to the table. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here for Gunslinger Spawn. But you're a smart man, and deep down you know we can take better care of the situation than you can. And that's when Theus tells Cyrus, do yourself a favor and just stay out of it, and you might just be handsomely rewarded. Now Cyrus begrudgingly abides, and he leaves without saying another word. So Theus is like, well, that kind of went well, right? And Dakota's like, oh man, it's exhausting having to constantly stroke every male ego. And he's like, I'll let that comment go, but right now, we need to exploit any weakness we can find against Gunslinger Spawn. That photo you have could be one of them. And it's from the Bartlett bloodline, and I believe that's Taylor's dad. I don't know, but it's from the Taylor bloodline. So now we get to Taylor and Gunslinger Spawn having a conversation, and Taylor is just kind of like giving Gunslinger Spawn shit. Like, you haven't told me why or what all this crazy stuff was about last night. Gunslinger's like, are you crazy? Your dad and them angels wanted to kill you. That's all you need to know. Most folks who ain't brain dead would have gotten the hell up out of the situation right now. But now you're questioning it? And Taylor's like, bro, that's strange. I know you're a little slow-minded, but I didn't figure for someone who's scared of things. So Gunslinger Spawn chokes him and lifts him up. I ain't scared, you little shit. I'm trying to save your life. You're just too stupid to know the difference. But that's fine by me. If you want to die, then die. But I need to get some things first. Maps, provisions. I don't care if you pack it or I pack it. Taylor's like, geez, well, you know, I guess I'll just go with you, you know? Gunslinger Spawn is disinterested in Taylor's opinions. He's more concerned about finding a way to hunt down every enemy from his past that may still be alive. Either Gunslinger Spawn's going to kill him today in the present, or he's going to find a way to go back home in the year 1864 and kill him then. So at the gas station where Taylor works, they grab supplies. Even though Gunslinger Spawn can't read, he knows he needs maps, and I guess he's grabbing some nuts. So Gunslinger Spawn studies the map, looking for a few places from his past that still look familiar, and a minute later, that silence is shattered. Bing, ding! He pulls out a gun, on Taylor just because he's making microwavable burritos and Taylor offers him some. I guess that's a way to get out of being murdered by gunpoint, but it's kind of a funny scene. But when Gunslinger Spawn obviously accepts the burrito, his method, he takes the symbiote off and he looks like from Hispanic descent, and we get to see his face behind the symbiote. And he puts on a pair of shades and you're like, why is it supposed to be this dark? And it's funny how out of touch Gunslinger Spawn is from 1864 to the 2000, because shades in 1864 didn't exist back in that time. So once they load up the supplies, Taylor directs Gunslinger to a specific part of town. And Taylor tells him, well, yeah, this is the place you point on the map. What's so significant about it? I buried weapons in crates in the ground. And why did I do that? I did that because I got about 24 guns, and if I know the enemy is coming, I always have to be prepared. Gunslinger Spawn undigs his stuff, gets his guns out, but Taylor gets in this moment like, so you came here to kill my dad. It wasn't that you were just using me, right? And he feels like a piece of crap. And he feels bad, and he's like, how am I going to pay for things? I have no dad, I have no home. All you really came here for was to kill my dad, and here I'm helping you? What am I doing here? I don't even have any money. So Gunslinger Spawn gives him some gold coins. I don't know how much these are worth today, but this might help. And he's like, oh yeah, this helps. After impressing to Taylor the seriousness of the situation, the two men finalize a game plan, and they form a rapport. That Gunslinger tells Taylor, you can call me Javi, that's my real name. So as Gunslinger sends Taylor off with some gold coins, go hide, stay safe. Don't go any place that's familiar, because that's where they'll be looking for you, okay? Stay hidden in unfamiliar places that you don't know about. Just get the hell out the way. Now, as night falls, Gunslinger Spawn falls asleep and takes a nap. The next day, he goes to an isolated place, and he knows because this is where he fought his enemies before. So when he's waiting there, a day passes, he sees the dust from this car steaming along, and that haven't disappointed him. So when the henchmen get out, don't move! Gunslinger pulls out his gun too, so I was going to say the same damn thing. Dakota gets out and says, boys, honestly, do you guys ever turn it off? As a boy, I will answer to the ladies and gentlemen of the council. Honestly, we never turn it off. You get my drift? She circles around Gunslinger Spawn a few times to size him up. She's like, okay, I'll get to the point. We're making plans, and from what I'm told, you could be very useful towards some of those problems. She fine though. Problem is, I've seen plenty of you heroes that didn't live up to their hype. Are you the real deal? And Gunslinger didn't utter a syllable as he holsters his weapon. The silence effect. She's like, the strong silent type, are you? I like that. And the henchman trying to attack Gunslinger Spawn. Thwop, boom, blam, kills him. Click, puts the gun points at Dakota's face. She's like, so you do live up to the hype. Put away that gun. Your necro bullets don't work on me. She removes the hat and shows proof that they don't work. I've been shot in the head by others far better than you, and they already tried that trick. So put that gun away, boy. And she waves her hand to her prehistoric pets, and they grew 10 times their size. You see, if I want, my power is easily transferred to my servants. He's all yours, girls. He shoots at dinosaurs. He shoots Jurassic Park. But this T-Rex, or whatever the hell this is not affected. These bullets go through him like nothing. He fights what he thinks are demons hundreds of times in the past before. But this time, Gunslinger quickly realized these creatures are different. Make him bleed, then leave him for me, says Dakota. Hey girl, hey. So the dinosaur bites him in the arm. Ow! Gunslinger thinks we can shoot them in the eyes, stab them in the eyes. They're blind, they can't see. But it turns out it's not enough, and these guys are just wiping the floor with Gunslinger Spawn, so to speak. Badly injured, he's got one hidden trick to play. He lost up a dynamite. Explosion happens, oh, even though it has seemed to fail, he's like, what are you guys? He tries to get up and slow down his attacker, but he is sorely out of his league. They go to work on him. Slip! He stabs him, bites him in his hand, stabs him in the face, and this other dinosaur bites him in his head and tosses him around. And then he hears a new sound like a rabid dog straining on its leash. The sound multiplies, and it's the Violator, and it becomes a streaming parade of insanity. He's mine now! And that is how this issue will end. I got to say, this is a heck of a read. Gunslinger Spawn was a fun read. It starts off a little slow, but that's okay. You got to do a little foreplay before you preheat that oven and put it in and give it to me like that, you know? But I thought this was a fun read. Link in description if you wish to add this issue to your comic book collection, because you will definitely have a fun time reading this. Now, my voice sounds a little bit raspy. Please forgive me, because you know I had to deliver this content to the boys and to the girls too. And if you like the content we're throwing up, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. It'll help Rated Comics to make more comic book reviews and comic book related content. It'll help support the channel and Rated Comics to make more content like this. We begin this issue with the clown telling Gunslinger Spawn, "Get on your feet, boy." I like looking into a man's eyes when I'm talking to him. Why am I talking like Gunslinger Spawn for the clown? I gotta do a different voice personification for him. But you know what? Spawn has collided with this hellish villain dozens of times before. But for Gunslinger, this will be his first encounter, and Clown has a proposal for him. "You know how many men I've seen walk away from their better interests? But you, Gunslinger, strike me as smarter than that. And what makes you think that, boy?" Clown offers Gunslinger Spawn what he wants, and he wants to return, go back to his time in the 1800s. And Clown is like, "I can help you with that." And then Dakota's like, "Wait a minute, he's my target. You wanted me to soften him up. That's what I'm doing." "Shut up, girl, you're talking too long." And he chokes her. "You don't ever interrupt me again. Get your hands off me, old man. Or what you'll do to me, Dakota? What will you do?" So they have a little short little scuffle. She morphs into a dinosaur and he just tosses her out the way. Dakota's like, "If you were gonna take over, then why'd you send me?" Because he thought she was ready, and clearly she's not. Some crazy mindset he has, but whatever. "Leave me alone, girl. Come talk to me when you're ready to listen." "I forget you, Clown. You gotta love her spirit, don't you?" "Now where were we, Gunslinger?" "That's right. We're talking about taking over the world or something like that." "You know what? Just come spit it out, boy. Like you beating around the bush, and I'm starting to lose my patience, Clown," says Gunslinger Spawn. But these little clown minions start taking off Gunslinger Spawn's hat and start toying with it. And Gunslinger's like, "Man, give me my hat back." In due time, he's gonna use the hat as leverage. But let me introduce you to my friend, my little companion, the Violator. He and I go way back, so if you're thinking I don't have ample protection, you'd be wrong. And Gunslinger takes one of the little clowns, and tosses it at the Violator and says, "I said, give him my hat, boy." That's funny. Now, Gunslinger knows if he's going to make his move, now is the time. With Dakota out the picture, he has a zest of odds. The baby clowns he thinks are just pawns, and they don't pose a serious threat. And the clown, he's faced overconfident villains like this type before, and he's bettered them. It's the Violator that he's concerned with. If he can spill some of the blood, he might deter the rest of them and slow him down so he can make a break. So he gets behind the Violator's back and stabs him. But that was his plan. But Violator's like, "Get off of me," slashes him to the ground, punches him in his midsection. You can tell this blood spewing out of his mouth. But in reality, Gunslinger never stood a chance. His beating lasts for several more minutes. Clown's like, "Enough! I think he's got the point now. Now, on your feet, cowboy. I'm gonna ask you again." "Man, I'll get up when I'm ready, fat man. Let's be clear about something, Gunslinger. I'm the alpha around here, so you better stop barking. You're beginning to upset my other dogs." And he's talking about his other minion clowns. "I hate to have them unleash them on you." And Gunslinger's like, "Man, you're a coward hiding behind the clowns and that Violator thing. So that's okay, bro. I would do the same if I was afraid." Now, Clown knows he has to carefully weigh his options, because knowing Gunslinger is of immense value to him. He can't stand insubordination, but he won't tolerate being considered inferior. So he whispered a single syllable to these little minions, "Go," and it triggers the true nature of these hellions, these clowns, that they just gnaw at Gunslinger with these sharp, razor sharp teeth. And Gunslinger's like, "Damn, I was way wrong about these little clowns. They are not just little clowns that are just horrible to look at. They just gnaw at him. And the clown is like, "Leave a little room, bro. Like, y'all haven't eaten today." But he's unconscious. Relax. So they carry on Gunslinger Spawn, and they're about to do something with him. Such a pity. These spawns, I always think they're better than they are. And this one's too stubborn to know we both crave the exact same thing, which is get off this damn planet. But he will, and his eyes go red. He just needs the right motivation and a little fresh air in his face. So they hang Gunslinger Spawn, chain him up, tie him up on his wrist, and they wait for him to go conscious again. As he awakes, Clown is like, "Look, man, I want to commend you on your house check. I'm trying to get your weapons, but you were clever enough to fuse them with the symbiote. So you're the only one that can remove the weapons for your hat, just like your bullet belts. But those won't budge either. So I'll give you credit where credit's due, Gunslinger. So you might as well look good while you're hanging there." So he puts his hat back on Gunslinger's head. "Don't look surprised, Gunslinger. You're not the only one necro powers." And Clown continues to talk. "And you know how I got those powers? You know what gave me these powers? Spawn. He thought he figured a way to get rid of me, but guess what? The opposite happened. As long as I was being shot into the time rip, the explosion created everyone else in that direction. So I took a little bit of power off of everyone in that time rip. And that's a reference to Spawn issue 301. So Clown ends it with, do you know how much power that is when it's combined? Enough to split myself into 2 personas. So call me Clown and Violator. I am one and the same. Your chance of survival is to not even be here, not in this time frame. So you need to listen to me, Hellspawn. You are the weakest Hellspawn ever, and you've acquired your power illegally. So you need me. And so we have to work together, Gunslinger. I can't get what I want without you, and you can't get what you want without me. Because the rip in time is only going one direction, bringing people here. No one is able to go the other way because the dead zones are locked. Spawn did that, and the only one with the key is Spawn and your mortal enemy Colexioso Cogs. So ask yourself, Gunslinger, do you think for 1 second that if Cog gets his hands on Spawn first, he'll offer you the same deal I am? No, he'll cut you out. But I am your friend here. So that's the proposal he gives to Gunslinger. You'll never get back home or see anyone you ever cared about. Spawn can't do it, and Cog or anyone else doesn't give a shit about you or your once, Gunslinger. I don't care about it either, says Clown, but I'm sure you have a reason to go back home, and I give you the best chance of going back home. Like it or not, we're stuck with each other, so we have to work with one another. He takes out a gun, looks at Gunslinger, he's like, so hell, Spawn, what's it going to be? Surely someone wishes you were back. And Gunslinger's like, I can't. Of course you can. Otherwise, you just die slowly on the branch. Clown gives Gunslinger what the plan is, what they're supposed to do. And he's still tied up, and these little clown minions are like, we're ready to buy that chief. You try to do something stupid. So Clown is like, look, though you prefer you didn't, I like another sharpshooter at my side. Besides, your job is easy. Get close to Spawn, and when the time comes, you stab him in the back. What a great, fantastic issue. This questions what Gunslinger's motive is when he was working with Jessica in the Scorch. I don't know if Gunslinger's gonna go through with it, but this is compelling storytelling. This was an awesome issue. And by the way, link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. And in my personal opinion, this was a classic comic. I thought this was a fantastic read. Now we begin this issue with Gunslinger Spawn passed out, laying on the ground, and we see Clown saying off screen, he's passed out again. It's what happened when humans, instead of those born in hell, are picked as hell spawns. Now we wait. He puts Gunslinger's hat down, and nearly an hour goes by, and Gunslinger Spawn coughs and wakes up. That's a horrible freaking cough. Now we see Clown in this panel happy that Gunslinger Spawn woke up and not died. He needs him for another plan. He needs him for his plan. Issue number 4, he needs him to betray Spawn. But for what further reasons, we don't know, but I'm sure hoping we find out in this issue. And man, the panel, the art in this issue is gangster. When he wakes up, he says, give him space. He's going to flop like a hooked fish. His body resets. Especially this one, he's weaker than I thought. So now we see the Violator behind too. And remember, Clown and the Violator split up, so they're now acting as one. But it's devious how he says we need this one alive for a while longer. Gunslinger's recovery takes longer than anticipated. After Clown welcomes him back, he tells him, I hope you're not going to faint. And Gunslinger's like, man, I am just getting warmed up. Such bravado, you're such a riot. But this has dragged on for far too long. I'm still waiting for an answer to my offer, boy. He doesn't say boy. It's just funny when you end boy at the end of a sentence. And Gunslinger's like, what? You want an answer? All right, listen up then. We're never going to be partners. Clown is like, okay, I don't agree. But Gunslinger knows he can't win this battle, but he steels himself anyway for one last assault because he'll be damned if he goes down without fighting. A fight a Clown is more than prepared to take on. And so these two mofos go at it once again after waking up. Gunslinger holds his own against this 2,000-pound enemy, but a harsh reality sets in. When after mustering everything for one last blow, his opponent shrugs it off like a mere slap. Really? He likes to taste the blood. Woo, you think I'm still the same old Clown, boy? I know I should be saying boy at the end, but it just seems so fitting. And he's like, I'm not. And he does like this super power pound to the ground that creates a seismic earthquake, and the ground figures in like a quarter mile before stopping, attesting the Clown's newfound power. The Violator comes to check on his master, ready to join the fray at his bidding. The Clown holds him at bay. So Clown is just taking on him. Okay, he approaches a large oak tree which he hung Gunslinger Spawn from. Could the Clown have done this before? No, not the old Clown, but the new Clown could pick up a tree and toss it like it's a paper. Gunslinger's like, let's finish this. Slowly, the clown creeps forward like a tiger locked in on his prey. The two warriors are ready to explode. And all of a sudden, Clown laughs and brings him in like, you know what? For a Spawn, you're okay. I'm beginning to like you, boy. Okay, I think that's the last time I'm going to say boy. And the reason why Clown says that is because he feels that him and Spawn have a lot in common. He goes into, neither of us were Hell's first choice. We were never thought of good enough. For me, it started right at the beginning with the first symbiote, the one returned into a Hellspawn costume. He's talking about Spawn, but they failed. They all did. Eventually, Simmons will too, because he doesn't have the capacity to understand his true identity. At the beginning, he freaked out too, like the rest of the Hellspawns. You should have seen Simmons when he found out he didn't need a heart any longer. And that is a callback from issue number 4. I knew then he wasn't going to succeed, but my lord, Malbosia, didn't want to hear any of it. And if you watch my video about the Violator, he cannot kill a Hellspawn unless he's directly given the order to do so. And out of anger, he turned me into a joke, a clown, before I was sent to Earth to train Simmons. But I recently upgraded myself with a bunch of God's outcasts. I nearly took over Spawn's symbiote. With it, I could have unlocked all the dead zones myself. Then Simmons turned it nuclear and without knowing it, created the time rip. I went in, you came out, and that's where we're at. And I finally landed centuries into the future to having to fight myself, my future self, to survive. Eventually I tamed it, then found my powers had become somehow enhanced. I used them to influence those around me. When I stumbled across an imprisoned Kincaid, he begged me to free him, saying he knew how to return back to Earth. I only had one condition. I wanted the soul of every child he ever killed, and he gladly gave them to me. And I animated those children's souls into these minions, you see. Oh my gosh, that is horrific that those little minion clowns are souls of dead kids. And even Gunslinger Spawn is shocked about it. Gunslinger Spawn asked him a question. I'm curious, why don't you just take out Simmons yourself? It's not that easy. Simmons has grown into the most powerful Spawn yet. I attack him head on, he'd sense me coming, but he wouldn't suspect you. Another Spawn looking for the same thing I want, the key that lets me back to hell. Now they need each other. Clown wants to go back to hell, Gunslinger Spawn wants to go back to 1800s. And he's willing to pay handsomely to get that, but he has to take out Spawn. But the truth is, he wants to go back to hell because the treasure he's looking for lies on the other side in hell, Malbosia's empty throne. So that's the trade. He goes back to hell, take out Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn has to do that, and in turn, Violator sends him back to 1800s. Think about it, Gunslinger Spawn. I could have killed you when you were passed out. I didn't. Ask yourself why. Okay, Gunslinger's like, you got my attention. He picks up the sticks to illustrate his question, but he needs to know something. This is our current time. This is 1864 where I came from. Can you get me back to 1862, not 1864? And Violator's like, okay, you want to go back earlier in time? I think that's possible. And Gunslinger Spawn's like, no. I don't want to know if it's possible. I'm asking you, can you do it? If not, I'm gone from here. Clown turns to see he's not the only one who commands an army. These wolves that seem to be commanded by Gunslinger Spawn encircle Clown, the minions, and the Violator. Tell your dogs to back off. I don't like threats. Tension builds. Monsters, wolves, minions all begin to salivate. Unfortunately, too many primal instincts at play, and when tension builds, all they know how to do is fight. And with that, all hell breaks loose. The dogs attack the Violator. Violator attacks them. Everyone's going on with this shit show. And with no apparent winners asserting themselves, the battle devolves into a wild scene of savagery. Clown isn't willing to risk any more casualties. Gunslinger Spawn comes to the same conclusion and yells the same order. Stop! We stay here, more wolves will come, says Gunslinger. And Gunslinger Spawn's like, if I join you, Clown, what's my job again? For now, there's two things. One, make sure Spawn stays alive. He dies, we're both screwed. And two, the way to do that is to become his friend, or at least give him the belief that that's true. All right, if you do your part, I'll do mine. If I betray Spawn in time for you to go back to hell, I want to go back to 1862, not 1864. And that's where we end this issue with Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 5. I thought it was a fun read. Issue number 6 is going to be the end of the first story arc. And as I said, I still dug the book. I had a great time reading it. You will too. Link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. I am loving how Gunslinger series is turning out, and the fact that the Violator can now split himself into Clown and the Violator, I think that's awesome, man. And it's a great and fantastic read, and I had a thorough time. We begin this issue with Gunslinger Spawn and Clown traveling through the Black Abyss. They went from the place that they previously were in the previous issue to Omega Island. Clown tells Gunslinger, relax for a moment while I tend to some logistics, boy. The Centurion armies greet Clown and tell him welcome back. Gunslinger's like, dude, I've been here before. I know, relax. You may want to step aside, Gunslinger. So as he does, the Violator and 24 of those tiny creatures, those nasty clowns, come through the portal as well. They're called omens, and they've been trained to know their place. So the omens, like well-trained dogs, they return to their kennels. That's funny. Okay, like, get over there, boy. And then the Violator, as the guards carefully work to restrain the compliant Violator, it's like a scene in a King Kong movie. Except this monster accepts this intrusion. Just, all right, chain me up. We good now. I'm home. So Clown's like, look, my pets need to be properly leashed when they're not being used. So they walk into this room, and Gunslinger's like, dude, is this more of your pets? Nah, boy, these are just remnants to remind me of the pain I've suffered and where I recently killed a hellspawn. And Gunslinger's like, oh no. And he's like, I'm just kidding. You look at your face. You actually thought I was serious. Ha ha ha. Twisted sense of humor this clown has. But he tells him, look, as I said, you're too valuable to be hurt because I need you to do what we talked about in Spawn in the previous issue. And besides, I can't send you back home if you're not healthy. Lost in thought, Gunslinger isn't listening. Instead, he's remember why he needs to go back home, and we see this sword, this bloody sword with this handle. So Clown's like, look, I had my servants prepare the courtyard for us, so please tell me you're not vegan. I don't even know what that means. Excellent. Look at all this not vegan stuff. Of course he's not gonna know what vegan or vegetarian means from the 1800s. I don't even think that was a thing back then. So Gunslinger's like, okay, he's gonna probe him some questions. Mind me asking something. I don't understand how this works. Like, how is it that no one knows you're here? It's a big fortress, tons of weapon, a small army. Hell, it's an island and you act like you having a care? And Clown's like, look, it's covered with the cloaking signal. Humans only see and register a small deserted island, not Omega Island. It'll make more sense after a few glasses of wine, boy. And Gunslinger's like, no thanks, get that bullshit out the way. What a whiskey, and I want some big bottles. And Clown's like, all right, I should have realized the man of your distinction would know exactly what he wants, and that he does. And that sword from earlier, an A is carved into it as Gunslinger is slowly starting to regain his memory. So they drink to whiskey, a toast to the future, toast to the past. They cheers as the sunsettled Clown continues to tell Gunslinger with tales from his centuries past, boasting of his many exploits. For his part, Gunslinger just sits there and mostly listens as they keep topping their glasses. And Gunslinger asks Clown, tell me again how all that dead zone stuff works? It's darn interesting. Clown has had enough of this, feel like, no more. I mean, I'm still adjusted to my body. I can't handle no more liquor. Oh, come on. That needs to be celebrated. Now, I insist you lift your glass. Don't let your new partner drink alone. So here's to your genius and to all your, I like what you're doing. You're stroking his ego to get more out of you. And Gunslinger finally remembers from his past, Amy. And I imagine that's who he needs to get back to, or who he wants to get back to from his past. Clown tells him this is how the dead zone works. Once Spawn is convinced to unlock the dead zones, I finally get my rightful place upon Hell's throne, and with it, the powers that should have always been mine. Well, doesn't that mean Spawn has all the power if he's the only one that can open it? For now, yes. But when we spring our trap on him and I take over, it'll be glorious. Nothing can stop me then. Oh, unless I kill you first. And the Clown turns sober real fast and real good. I'm just kidding, boy. You reckon you took me serious for a moment? Ha! If I had a heart, I would have died of a heart attack. I knew I was gonna like you, boy. So one of the servants comes in with dessert, and I love this line right here. Hey, you know what? Before you cut that cake, we don't consummate in front of peasants. You're right. Get out of here. Leave us be. So to us, the party continues, and more whiskey is poured. Long into the night, Clown is just like, dude, my friend, have I convinced you? He's slurring his words. Well, I want you to know, says Gunslinger, I must admit it's tempting, but now that you told me how I can get home, I don't give a shit what you want. He stabs his hand, puts his head on the table, like, F you, son. My house. Tell your mama to save me a plate. Actually, no, you can't save me a plate. You already ate all the food. Don't give me that look. I learned long ago not to trust nobody, especially your kind. You think I'm a fool, Clown? The moment I help you open the gates to hell, I mean, I'm dead. I'm a dead man. I know you'll never share your powers, and I'm not going to get used like one of your damn pets. I've seen what liars do, and I will not watch it again. I'm taking that as referencing to the past and what happened to Amy. And he impales his head. That knife won't kill you, Clown, but you're gonna have one hell of a headache. So before you pass out, the time rip. How's it work? Does it go in a straight line or can I jump around? It doesn't matter. He swipes the knife out of his hand, pushes Gunslinger back. You're gonna be dead before you ever get close to it. And like a linebacker on the franchise tag on the last year of his contract, and he don't want to be franchise tag, he want that guaranteed money, he tackles him into the ground. Gunslinger knows he can't beat the clown in a one-on-one straight up battle. Master, you're hurt? Let us take him out, says one of the Centurion servants. This is my fight. Put your guns back away. Let me demonstrate what I'm capable of. He picks up Gunslinger, and this is definitely reminding me of Bane when he broke Batman's back. And that he does. Breaks it in half in a more brutal manner. Cartilage and muscle rip away from his bones. They were right. He is the weakest Hellspawn as he holds Gunslinger weakly and dangling in front of him. Guess that depends who you ask what you consider weak to mean. And Clown is surprised. He looks back at the body and it's one of his servants. And Gunslinger's like, is it the body or the mind? Seems like yours is failing. How you reckon on killing me when you can't tell the difference between your guards and me? A little magic and some booze, that's all it took to put you out your game? Does hell know how pathetic you become? Gunslinger reaches for his guns. The guards shoot at him, but he takes out the guards first, real quick. And Gunslinger continues to go to Clown. I'm sure you could kill me if you wanted to, boy, but not in your condition, not as some low-life drunk. You're right, says Clown. Guess the children have to take care of it then. He grins and he calls on these little omens, and they burst into the room, gnawing at Gunslinger Spawn. That's how I think they bite him, just like rapid, sharp, razor teeth bites are just annoying. Feast, my pets. Feed on them, my children, or should I say my animals. And Gunslinger's like, yeah, that's right. That's your mistake, because they back off of Spawn. You think these souls still have some innocence? They don't. You're right. They are animals. Like the wolves in issue number 5, I can control these animals. Now, can the time rip jump years? It can do anything if you're in charge of it, and you'll never be in charge of it, Gunslinger, says Clown. Oh, that's all right. Then I'll make sure you're not in charge of it either. But thank you for telling me who is. So, the omens are now under Gunslinger's command, and they all come attacking Clown like a prime rib at a Las Vegas buffet. You know? So, and Gunslinger's like, look, I'll make sure Simmons knows you've returned when I see him. And the next time you think about coming in my direction, boy, remind yourself of something. Wild animals and whatever monsters you throw my way, they obey me, not you. And we see Clown just getting ripped to shreds with these little omens. Gunslinger understands he's not the strongest Hellspawn, but with proper timing and a bit of guile, the power he does possess just might be enough. So before leaving the chambers, he goes into the chamber where they're holding Violator. He quickly takes out every guard in the room, and he tells the Violator, look, I don't care about you because you got the same stink on you as that damn clown. And since this was our first meeting and all, I'll leave you with the little gift. Hope you show it to many of my enemies as you can. And he carves Amy on his leg as he exits the scene. And that's how we end this issue of Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 6. I am definitely loving this series. I love how the first story arc of Gunslinger Spawn ended. This is the end of the first story arc. Issue number 7 is the start of a new story arc. And I will be doing a video compilation of 1 through 6 to cover the first full story arc for anyone that's just new to this channel or jumping into it. Or you can just check out the playlist in this video. But I thought this is gangster. I absolutely love it. And also link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. With that being said, Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 6. What do you guys think of the issue? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. And as far as this new setup goes, I mean, there's boxes everywhere. I don't know if it could catch it in the frame of the camera. We're doing a Comic-Con in Anaheim next weekend, April 1st. So if you guys are in Orange County or going to that Comic-Con, WonderCon, come check us out. I'll be there. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.